But strangely, at this moment, I am actually feeling quite relaxed.
Hey.
Okay, I just want to go off for a minute. So Betty White died last week, and I'm not entirely sure how to feel about it. I mean, like, I wasn't that emotionally attached to her. I hadn't seen her in a lot of things. I think the thing I knew her most for was she was Red's mom in that 70s show. If anyone has seen that 70s show. But I think that's what I knew her from the most. But, so, like, she died last week. And I went through life thinking she was immortal. And I was perfectly content with thinking so. So, her death was like, holy shit, if Betty White can die, what does that mean for the rest of us? Okay, anyway, welcome to Working Title, the show where we talk about books, movies, and everything in between. West Side Story. It's a thing. It's not a bad thing, it's just not a thing I'm that familiar with. But you know, there's that new movie, which means that a musical as a whole is probably going to get a resurgence in popularity, because that's just how these things go. At the time of writing, the movie hasn't come out yet. And at the time of recording, it has been considered a critical flop. So, do with that information as you will. Which is sort of insignificant at the moment because we're taking a detour from our regular scheduled programming. I'm not going to be reviewing the movie. Instead, we're just going to talk about a more serious topic. Now, let me explain why I'm doing this episode. I was actually asked by my mom to look into this. Hi, Mom. I don't know if you're listening to this, but hi. Like I said earlier, this isn't a musical that I'm very familiar with, so I'm not attached to it like I am with, like, Dear Evan Hansen or Be More Chill. So I feel like I'm qualified to give an objective look at the cultural aspect of this. So I was actually rather interested in this topic because West Side Story is about two gangs who, when explained to me, one is Puerto Rican and the other being Italian. This is in fact incorrect. So let me give a brief synopsis of West Side Story. The musical is based on William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet and is set in the west side of New York in the 1950s, which at the time was seeing a rise of Puerto Rican and immigrants in a time called the Great Migration. It centers around two gangs, the Puerto Rican Sharks and the White Jets. The crux of the movie is the relationship between ex-Jets member Tony and sister of the Sharks leader Maria. Yeah, my face is itchy. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into what I actually want to talk about. The casting for the 2021 movie. More specifically, in terms of the Latin characters. However, I would like to point out that Connor Murphy is in this movie. That's right, Dear Evan Hansen fans. Broadway's very own Mike Feist is in this movie. Okay, back to the topic. Let's start with Maria. In the adaptation, played by Rachel Zegler, who is of Colombian and Polish descent. And I actually didn't know this until recently, but apparently in the, I think, 1961 movie, Maria was played by a white woman. So, yay, love it. I am recording, don't give me a dirty look. Go back to sleep. Don't give me side-eye, go back to bed. Pain in the butt, cat. Have you been looking at your leg again? Jesus Christ, okay. Anyway, another main cast member is Ariana DeBois, I hope I'm saying that right, who is half Puerto Rican. You're probably wondering why I'm mentioning their ethnicities. Well, around 30-ish years ago, there was a little movie called Selena, which followed the life of Mexican-American singer Selena, played by Jennifer Lopez. Now, why is this important? Jennifer Lopez is Puerto Rican, and at the time of that movie's release, there was some controversy over the choice to have a Puerto Rican actress play a Mexican-American singer whose death at the time of casting was still being covered. So I was curious how these casting decisions would be met, especially when it sort of ties into the conversation about cultural appropriation and how important casting decisions can be. I think at least some of us remember the controversy that the Ghost in the Shell movie got into a few years ago, where a white actress played a Japanese character, which inadvertently led to a conversation about whitewashing. And especially now, after the massive rise of the Black Lives Matter movement that happened last year, it's become more important than ever to really listen to the stories of people of color. Also, I say last year, I wrote the script back in 2021, but it's 2022 at the time of recording, so more like 2 years ago now. But it's become more important than ever to really listen to the stories of people of color, and to make sure that those stories are being represented accurately. In research for this episode, I couldn't really find anything that suggested an issue with the casting, and this is something I'm not entirely qualified to talk about, as I myself am not a person of color. But it is worth mentioning that while I am not qualified to have this conversation, that does not change the fact that it is a conversation that should be had. So, I'm going to leave it here. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you want updates on episodes, you want to suggest episodes, or you just want to chat, I'm on Reddit at ashleymariewt. And if you're listening to this on Anchor, you can send me voice messages. And I'm going to be leaving an email address in the description box if you would like to get a hold of me through that. Which is ashleymariewt@gmail.com. And until next time, peace out.